Well, hello there everyone, and welcome back to Feed the Beast Monster. Since last time I have been busy down in here, not in here, which is still grass, I've just noticed. Hey Terence. Terence is still doing very well over there. But down here in the mob trap, where you can see we have made a few changes. I have put in these obsidian things as pillars here. I'm not sure quite how much I like them, but if I ever wanted to build a royal room, I think that's a brilliant colour. I've made this sort of little walkway thing here. It's the granite bricks which I'm endlessly trying to use up. Edged it all, bit of jungle wood down the middle, that sort of thing. I think it looks reasonably okay. I was thinking red is danger, I think, something like that. There still needs to be a row of fencing going along here. And down here you can see we have steps. We have steps which go all the way down to here. There's obviously still lots of little bits which need tinkering with, but the walls are all in along here. The ceiling isn't quite yet. And I've just sort of tidied in that side, put in little alcove bits. You may notice that there are also some gaps in here. And another big gap here, because you really didn't need to see me dig out even more obsidian, like last time. And if we go down here, you can see there is something down here. And what's down here is a rather scruffy little room, which comes to this little hole in the middle of the mob trap. Okay, so hopefully so far so obvious. That will actually need to come out as well. Now obviously this is for routing bits and pieces through the mob trap, because you don't need to see me do this all the way through another episode. I should note there is also a hole through there. So what are we going to do today? Well, today we are going to try and get as much of the actual pipework into this thing as possible. Okay, the workings of it. So let's get started. And how have I got stuck on the step? I have no idea. Right, blazes. Blazes will at some point spawn in this, and they will be killed somehow. I'm going to save the actual killing until after I've got everything else in. But there will be blaze rods dropping. And for the sake of argument, they are going to be dropping here. Well, they could drop anywhere, actually. We are going to funnel them down to here, where we are going to get rid of them. So how are we actually going to pick these things up? Because they will be on the floor. Well, okay, sorry about that, minor technical hiccup. So, how are we going to get these things up off the floor? Well, welcome to the wonderful world of OpenBlocks. OpenBlocks is a brilliant little mod. I like it a lot. I don't know why I haven't used it more yet. In fact, I probably have, because Canvas is part of it, isn't it? And that is what is lining out this room down here, though we haven't used it properly yet. All working very nicely. I assume everything is working down there. Other things which OpenBlocks contain. It contains this. Now, when we were sucking up items from our other mob trap, the one that was down in the quarry, we used the rotary craft item vacuum, which is very good, and it is very, very powerful. OpenBlocks contains a little block which is very similar but not quite as powerful. It is this one, the vacuum hopper. It's pretty easy to make. It requires an ender pearl, a hopper, and a piece of obsidian. Now, I don't know, we might actually have some of this stuff in here. Let's see, we don't have a hopper, but they are pretty easy to make. One hopper, and one vacuum hopper. The cool thing about vacuum hoppers is that if you, I can just pop one down here actually, you pop it down and it gives you the particle effect, a bit like an ender pearl actually. If you take something and drop it near it, it gets sucked into it. I don't know exactly what the range on these things is, it's pretty decent actually. Oh, it's pretty good actually. Okay, so it looks like 3 blocks. Yeah, 3 blocks either way I think. If you right click on it, you can access it. The interesting thing about vacuum hoppers is, as you may see on this side, they can accept items, which is what the chest means, and they can take in experience, which is what this means. They can suck up experience orbs. So that is really, really useful. Now let's get that thing up. There we go. Now, it can only suck in from a 3x3 area. That means it can't cover that entire base of the mob trap down there. So we need a way to get the objects towards this item vacuum. And the classic way is, of course, buckets full of water. So let's go get a bit of water. My inventory is way full from the building work. Messy, messy, messy. Right, we still have our infinite water source. This area, I mean the farm's still there, look. My very first farm. Oh, way back in episode 3 or something. One day I shall probably turn that into a little fountain. Right, this way's probably quicker. Down we go. And perfect timing to see Terry again. Morning, Terence. Right. Well, night Terence I think it was, wasn't it? So the classic way to get things over here is water. So we have a vacuum hopper, which I'm going to put in here. This will... I have dug out a wrong block, haven't I? I want that block out. No. Hold on. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm right. So now anything which drops down somewhere in here will get sucked into it. That's good. But things shouldn't. Actually, it can probably nearly do the entire thing. That's really well worth knowing. Irrespective, I'm now going to make a big mess in here with water. And this is the reason that I made this thing the exact area that I did. I should probably keep these buckets because I'll have to take that out when it annoys me. But anything which now drops anywhere in here will flow to there. 5 by 9 is just the right size to get that. You'd want it 9 by 9 to have it in the middle. So for a normal mob trap you couldn't do this because the normal mobs spawn on the floor. The blazes we are going to be spawning up in the air. So we now have a way to collect items. What we need is ways to get it out. And we need to get rid of 2 things. We need to get rid of items, which are going to come in, which will be the blaze rods. We are also going to need to get rid of the essence. So how are we going to do that? Well, because obviously I haven't explained it yet, but the essence will be useful. We can use this essence which it collects. The items are going to be pretty easy. We've moved items about a lot before. We just need item ducts, which we have 12 of, which will be plenty. And I shall probably put them in a jabber barrel. Just because I like jabber barrels, no better reason. Do we have the stuff to make one of these? We do. A better barrel by jabber. I could actually make a... oh, second one. Didn't mean to do that. I don't think anything else will come out, but just in case. So that will sort out the items. Let's go and put these in, actually. So the next question is, how do we know where items are going to come out, because obviously there's lots of faces on this thing, and I think it can output directly into one of these. We will soon find out. Well, if I get rid of this bit on the right, you can see that we have this thing for items. If I click on it, it brings up a picture of the item vacuum that corresponds to this picture. Oops, and if you click the wrong button, you get that. What you can do with this is drag it around actually with the right mouse button to see other faces of it. But this one should be the face facing us. If I click on it, I've set that now to be an output. Okay, off, on basically. So now this face facing us is the output. So hopefully, and with a bit of luck, we should be able to connect item ducts up to this. Now I shall run them along here. That has connected up to that, which is good. I think it will auto output as well. Again, we will soon find out. Right, can I? I can't actually see down into that. Let's go down here. Is that... Yeah, that's there. That's fine. So, bit of cobblestone back in, I say. Let's actually get this piece out as well, which will just take a second. Pick you up. There we go. Isn't that water noisy? And pop down a pair of barrels. Right, let's see if this thing is auto-ejecting. Let us chuck a bit of cobble in. Let's tuck a bit of dirt in even, and see what happens. It should get sucked into there. Oops. And it has got stuck in here. Right, we might need to set that up with a servo motor then. Let's run back and get one of those. Let's run into a wall because that is even more fun. Well, my mouse went wild then. Let's try that again. So, do we have any servos? We have one servo. Now, while I am here, so I don't have to run backwards and forwards again, what do we do with the experience? Well, we can store experience in tanks. We can explore it in the open block tank. We've never built an open block tank yet. We've used the railcraft tanks. But here are the open block tanks. They're really rather cool and they're really rather easy to make. They just need 4 bits of obsidian and 5 glass panes. So I'm actually going to make up a load of these. And the fun thing about the open block tanks is they are a multi-block, but they can be made as a multi-block in absolutely any shape you want, and they will store liquids. It will all just run down and flow into the bottom parts. They're really good. I really like them. And fortunately you do get them back if you do that. They don't shatter, I wasn't sure, and I have knocked that out. There we go. Right, oh, there goes a tree rather quickly. How are our trees doing? 104 stacks of jungle wood. That's pretty good, actually. Yes, I'm pretty happy with that. I shall probably be fiddling with that yet again soon because it is still not perfect. Right, back down here. Let us... This is still in here, it is. Let us install a servo motor. And let us tell this servo motor to ignore redstone. So that should always be firing, and that is sucking stuff out of the hopper. And if we wait a minute, it should turn up in there. I shall quickly chuck a few more bits in just to make sure. There's the first bit gone in. And if we wait a few more seconds, we should hopefully get a few more come through, because they should not stick in there. They're not in there, and there they are, 9 bits of dirt. So these vacuum hoppers do not auto-eject, it's well worth remembering. Okay, so we can now get the items out. What about the essence? Let us get rid of the bit on the right. So whenever an essence orb drops, this thing will also suck it in. So it will be sucking in all of the kills from the blazes. It will store them in this. This is an internal tank. But it won't... That internal tank's not big. We will fill it up quite quickly if we leave this to idle. What we need to do is to set it to output this somewhere. And we want this to output into the bottom, because that is what this room is. So I can click that one on. You can see this one is green for the XP. And if we go down here, we should see that there is now this green output. You can probably guess exactly what I am going to do. I am going to fill this bit down here up with tanks. There we go, we now have a big tank. Each square of these is 16,000 millibuckets, so each square can hold 16 millibuckets. This is 5 by 2, which is 10, so it can hold 160 buckets of essence. That's a lot of essence. If you were to use that, you would go up a lot of levels, which is pretty good if you ask me. Okay, so we are really starting to get there now. We now have a way to suck items out and handle the essence as well. So next time we will put in probably most of the rest of it actually. But that will be for next time. Until then, thank you very much for watching this episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it and are enjoying this coming together. I'm having a lot of fun making it. Do like and subscribe if you do enjoy it, and most importantly, I hope to see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.